Okay, I'm going to get started. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for taking time this morning to be with us and the CPS kickout. We are going to get started by hearing from some of our organizers from the kickout. Let me just start by saying we are CPS parents. We are not an organization. We are a group of parents who have come together for collective action. So, Brenna, let's start with you. Let's hear a little bit about why we're here and what we're doing.
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name's Brenna O'Brien. I'm a parent of 2 at Coonley Elementary, and I'm one of the parent organizers with the CPS Sick Out. And we came together for our first Sick Out on February 1st, when that was the planned day for Chicago Public Schools to return. And at that point, we felt that parents were not being heard, that February 1st was an arbitrary date. It didn't make sense with the spike in cases at that time. And so we found that we'd made calls, we'd written letters, we'd been to town halls, we talked to our principals, our LSCs, everything, and we were not being heard. So we said, well, what power do parents have? We can keep our kids home. We can have a school boycott. We can hit them where the money is at. That's where they care about, is the money connected to attendance. And so we organized really quickly, and we contacted our parents that were just frustrated and said, let's have a Sick Out on Monday, February 1st. And so we did, and we made enough of an impact that CPS actually had an emergency meeting about parent engagement and was like, what is going on? So that was February 1st. And then we knew that the strike not the strike, but the CPS CTU negotiations were going on. But by February 10th, whatever the negotiations and the agreement that were figured out with CTU, that was for the teachers. And we're the parents. We knew that we had plenty of other demands, plenty of other needs for our students that were not being met. We're so happy that the teachers got the safety things they needed, but there's so much more. And that's why we're striking today on March 1st, is because we have a lot of demands, a lot of things that have not been looked at, and we want to, use our voice and use our power as parents. So thank you.
I am Lee Mabry. I am a parent of a first grade diverse learner at Bogan Elementary School. Sick Out was born out of a sheer need, and I'm so thankful that we've all come together to protect each other, to care for each other, because our city isn't doing it. When I first came to the Sick Out team, I was very concerned about compassion and care and remote learning, and realizing that we're living through a pandemic. I sit with you today in Indianapolis, Indiana, because my mother-in-law has entered home hospice. We haven't seen her in a year. And here I am worried that my daughter's missing remote school, rather than spending quality time at the end of life for her grandma. We're all living through losses. We're living through financial uncertainty. We need compassion, we need care, we need flexibility. I know everyone is living through this, so I don't want to take too much time, but I'm not going to stop. Sick Out's not going to stop until they listen to us. This won't stop Lori left us. Thank you.
Yeah, my name's David Pack. I'm a parent. I'm a 6th grader. So along kind of a lot of the same reasons mentioned, I think just a lot of us are just concerned that these issues aren't new. These issues got worse during the pandemic, but they're not new. And there's a long history of parents just not being listened to, not having the right avenues, and worse yet, a history of retaliation from CPS. So part of what we want to accomplish here is that parent power, that collective action, because realistically, CPS depends on parents having their own individual needs at heart. And they should. Parents should have their own individual needs at heart. But when that's used to isolate and divide, it hurts everybody. So if we can speak collectively and act collectively, like something with Sick Out, that's how we can send a message that we won't stand for that, we won't let that happen, and they do need to listen. Because the current plan, on its face, is And that's true for in-person and for home.
Hi, my name is Kate Jablonski, and I don't think I have much to add. I think everybody before me did a good job of outlining it. But I will add that, the sicko came out of frustration because we were stuck in the middle between the CPS and the CTU bargaining stuff, and it wasn't moving forward. But as I attended more and more meetings, I realized that yes, we're very lucky that we can rearrange our lives to make remote learning work for our 2 kindergartners. Most families are not in the position that we are. And when I say we're lucky, we're still like one paycheck away from being on the other side. So, but we can make it work. And I think with the plan being so inflexible and really not focusing on all of Chicago, this is not a one-size-fits-all situation because the different communities in Chicago are so different in how they're experiencing it. And I think it's more because I've learned from other parents of what they're going through and what their needs are, which are so different than mine. And some of them, it's not even some things that I would think about because I don't live that kind of a life. So that's why after the February 1st, we said, we got really good momentum and 3 days of planning. Let's see what we can do. And there's so many different things that need to be addressed. But right now, there needs to be options for in-person that are better than what parents have been offered right now. And there needs to be improvements to remote learning because even the hybrid kids are still remote 3 days a week. So if remote learning is failing students, and Lori Lightful says she can't make it better, she's still failing students 3 out of 5 days.
I disagree with every parent organizer that's on the line today. So good morning, everyone. My name is Justin Williams. I think you guys are pretty much hitting it all. I'll say for me as a parent with 5 children at CPS, I'll say that me and my wife, at the very beginning, while going through the pandemic, we knew we weren't sending our children back in just due to safety and just making sure that we were not thinking about just our families, but everybody's family. I think as the process continued, what we seen was parents not being at the table, our voices being left out. We set up at night waiting on news and media to basically tell us what would be the next move. If our children were going to go to school or not go to school, or what's going to happen just overall. And when I started to see the fact that a lot of decisions were being made, it's a possible strike that can happen, and parents aren't involved nowhere near it in the process. That's what made me really want to step up and stand out and say, look, parents deserve to have a seat at the table. We deserve to be a part of the decision making that's dealing with our children. So at the end of the day, overall, that's like the main fight for myself, for my family, is making sure that more parents like us have a seat at the table. It's kind of jacked up. I always say that only the person who has the lived experience can really give you the information you need to help them out. You can't get this information just based on data. So like I say, but CPS Seek Out is a day of demand and action. It's a day where parents are all coming together all around Chicago to say, look, we will no longer take this. You won't control our narrative. You won't continue to tell us how we're going to deal with our children and what resources we need when we know that we deserve so much better, right? In particular, in Black and brown communities, we talk about all the time, how it's a pandemic way before the pandemic. When you go and you look at our schools and the infrastructure issues, lead and water, mice in schools, and you see this. You see the Black and brown communities, and you see just the disinvestment overall. And then you say, already we're most likely to probably get the COVID, but even beyond that, you open up schools in our communities without even really having a real plan, if you ask me. A plan for me is like saying, let's go grade level by grade level, right? Let's go kindergarten and first grade and then you have enough chances that you give teachers an opportunity to work with the children, to put health protocols in place and safety. They see what it's like. They get to learn from their mistakes, and then you get the teachers vaccinated for them particular grade levels, and then you working in by grade level by grade level. Instead, today we're looking at kindergarten through fifth grade all coming into school at one time with all of the teachers. So I guess just being intentional about what it looks like, but being very much transparent with parents. One thing that I continue to say is that a lot of parents in our communities have to make that decision of, do they actually go home, or rather, do they go to work to put food on the table and feed their families, or do they stay home to make sure that their children have the quality education that they deserve? So parents have to make real decisions, and because of this, I urge CPS to create a micro grant where they're actually supporting families so children can get the resources they need while they're doing remote learning and be able to build up on that. Families are struggling out here. So, but as I also ask for CPS to do that, just as a parent and with our amazing organizers that's on the call with us and my organization, we are choosing to create that micro grant as well. Until CPS step up and do it. We're going to be parents helping parents. So we're going to help other parents out who may be in need, where they'll be able to apply for $100. So that just got uploaded today on the GoFundMe. We are raising money right now for that. So we are promoting that and trying to get funds so we can help these families out. That's the ultimate goal, is to be able to help each other out. So I think I'll stop there. I'm sure there's many more things, but I'll stop there and just say that that's the reason why we do this work. We do this work because not only do parents deserve a seat at the table, but we just gotta support one another, and it just gotta be a lot of transparency. And I think everybody gotta be held accountable at the end of the day. Our mayor's office, CTU, CPS, every entity need to be held accountable for their actions. And after being held accountable, or even before, we gotta find a seat where parents have more of their voices being heard. Schools are more welcoming to parents, to get parents more involved again. And everybody's on that same level, where CTU has a parent component that's a part of them. CPS has a parent component, and parents have a component. And we all bring it together to. So I'm going to continue to be a part of Sit Out and anything else that's going to make sure that we demand for parents to have a voice. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it over
Thanks, Joseph.
to Courtney.
Yeah, thank you, Joseph. So we've heard a lot from the organizers about why we organize this, but this is really about giving parents a voice, and it doesn't matter what opinion the parents come from, we want their voice to be heard. So I'm going to pass the mic to Rosemary, who's going to come in and talk about her experience as a parent, and what's working for you, what's not working for you.
Thank you, Courtney. Thanks everyone here for doing the work. Like Joseph say, I just want to emphasize this work is not being paid for. Our children are our investment in the CPS system, and that's why we're in it. We're in it for them. I'm here because the plan that Lori Lightfoot has is not working for us. She has a plan with no foundation. She's building something that's going to crumble in the end. And like we said, there is not one size fits all, because every child has different needs, speeds, and challenges. And maybe if Lori Lightfoot would have used some funding to help parents and resources into our public schools and our children and our families and our community, the most needed, we wouldn't be having this situation. But instead, she decided to invest $281 million into the police and shortchange the schools and our children, which screams she is more for school to prison pipeline than she is for education and our children. So I kept my children out today, my freshman at Roberto Clemente and my fourth grader at Frickster Elementary, because withholding their attendance is sending a message to Lori Lightfoot that we do have a power, that we do have a choice as a parent. And I also want to say, that what she's done is ignore our voices. She's chosen to not listen to our ideas and our choice. We want to keep our children remote for the safety of our children, our family, our teachers. And she's ignored all that. She's continued to move forward with a plan that I said doesn't have a foundation, doesn't have parent voice and parent involvement. Not by choice from us, but by her keeping us out. Because that's the kind of leader that Lori Lightfoot is. She's like a toddler. If she don't get it, she throws a tantrum. So that's why I am participating today. Because like I said, my children are, Lori Lightfoot says CPS as a business, and I see my children as an investment. Their future is their investment, and we have to fight for it. And we'll continue to speak up, and we'll continue to participate, and we'll continue to do what's right for our children and our communities and our families. Thank you, Courtney.
Thank you, Rosemary. 100%. Everything you were speaking, pure truth, and speaking to so many of us. So thank you. Miguel, I'm going to invite you to come in.
Hello, thank you for having me here. I want to thank everybody else for being here as well, and thank you for the organizing and for standing up for all of our kids. My name is Miguel Bautista. I'm a parent of a kindergarten and a fourth grader at Galileo in Italy. The majority of the parents, including us, have decided to keep our kids home for our safety and health for all the kids, staff, and teachers. CPS has not improved remote learning. Instead, CPS has reduced instruction time for our kids by pushing the reopening plan. This has been incremental to both of my children. My son is in kindergarten, and he has adapted to remote learning successfully. But now that his instructions and remote learning has been interrupted, he has been disappointed. The same can be said for my fourth grader. CPS has continued to ignore us parents. They have not made us partners in these decisions that impact our children. This is why my kids are doing stick out. This is nothing new to us. This is a systemic system that has been going on for years. I live in the west side of Chicago. Our school down the block, my house, was one of the 50 schools that was closed down by CPS. And today they're building over $600,000 homes there. This has been going on for far too long. This is unacceptable. We will continue to fight this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miguel. It's crazy, the disinvestment that has been going on for so long. Ashley, I'm going to have you come in now, please. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Ashley Randazzo. I'm a parent of 4 at a Southside school in Roseland. I have a preschooler, a kindergartner, a second grader, and a third grader. Remote learning hasn't worked at all. We have computers that are broken, cameras that don't work. They can't have tabs open for more than 2, so doing work while listening to their teacher is just a hassle all the time. I've advocated for a mouse for the computers because some kids, their keypads don't work. I've advocated for headphones because I'm a parent of multiple kids, and if you've ever listened to 4 teachers talk at the same time and all of their classmates talking, it gets very loud and very hectic. We participated in the stick out today because we demanded our voices to be heard, and repeatedly Lori Lightfoot and CPS has told us that our parents, all we are is money to them. If our kids are in school, cool. If our kids aren't in school, well, it doesn't matter because we don't have a seat at the table, and we need one. We need to be able to be heard about the issues that we're having, why our kids are on computers all day, and why you can't give out textbooks to these students to have them write with a pen and paper. They need those skills, especially preschoolers, kindergartners, the little children that you put first in the schools, the kids that pick up the germs the most. You made those our guinea pigs when they shouldn't have been guinea pigs. Why are our students in school and we are still having virtual meetings as grown-ups? That doesn't make sense. If it doesn't work for grown-ups, why does it work for kids? So I've been advocating for a voice. Just please hear us, because we are going insane, parents. We are home all day with these kids, and we are fighting with kids to stay on task, but also fighting with ourselves to not get frustrated with our children, because it's not their fault. They did nothing wrong. And I know a lot of parents, they're frustrated, and we don't know who to be frustrated at, because we want to be frustrated with the mayor and CPS, but they don't take us seriously. So it's just a never-ending circle. And we're in Roseland. We have high crime rates, low-income families. You opened our schools up with no vaccines, no plan, and our windows don't open, but no ventilation. And you just tell us it's safe. It would cost $150,000 to implement better computers alone. Just computers for my kids in school. I did the math myself. $150,000. If Lori Lightfoot had millions of dollars that she could spend on technology, where is it? Because it's not here. I don't have it. The South Side does not have it. The West Side does not have it. The North Side, they have it, but the rest of the city doesn't. And it should be equality for all, not just equality for the higher income people. And that's where my frustration lays at. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ashley. I don't know if you saw, but there were a lot of heads shaking, like right on. Absolutely. Absolutely. Cassie is going to come in. She is a parent of a high schooler, so she can bring in that perspective for us.
Hi, I'm Cassie Cresswell. I'm a freshman in CPS. School is not returned except for cluster students, special ed students at high schools. But the issues with the elementary reopening are only going to be even bigger with high schools. The complexity of the logistics of high school schedules and the size of the student population, and there's even more pulling kids from all parts of the city into schools. And so, I think the percentage of students that want to return is going to be a similar issue as it has been with elementary. And so to ignore the needs of remote learning and not make an effort for that, there's still no real schedule or plan for high school to return. So to not make any improvements and to ignore demands that high school students themselves have made. Our school had previously had an asynchronous, a nearly fully asynchronous day on Wednesdays, and CPS told our school they couldn't have that anymore and took it away, and students are really upset about that, even though we're meeting the total real-time synchronous time over the course of the week. Janice Jackson and Latanya McDade said it wasn't allowed, and that's like a cost-free thing that was really doing a lot for students' mental health. So the fact that you have the people at the very top of the district not even allowing things that are free that would improve remote learning, much less investing in the way that they really need to do for both technology, but also for social, emotional, and mental health supports that are so desperately needed, especially among teenagers, it's totally unacceptable. And unfortunately, it is par for the course in a district where we aren't allowed to elect our school board, and the people at the top are only accountable to Lori Lightfoot, and she is not running this district in the way that she actually said she would when she was campaigning 2 years ago, and it's really unacceptable, and parents should be angry, and I'm happy to be part of this great organizing to take collective action to support improvements for remote learning, which truly will, would benefit all the kids, because not even if you're doing in person, you're only there a very small amount of time of your learning time right now.
Thank you so much, Cassie. And you're absolutely right. Like, even if families are choosing in person or the hybrid option, there's 3 days a week that they're on remote classes, and we need improvements. Next, I'm going to open it up for any of the media. If you have questions, we can field some questions right after Brenna comes on and talks about our demands of TLC.
Yeah, thanks, Courtney. So for the media, we included in our press release a link directly to the trust, learning, and care demands. Those were helped. We're not really, all part of that. We're just parents, we're just volunteers. And so when they pulled the TLC demands together, they spoke to parent groups, hundreds of parent groups across the city. We had teach-ins about each one of trust, learning, and care. And these are demands that I believe we've said have been problems since before the pandemic, and the pandemic has just made them worse. So if Lori Lightfoot and CPS, if they want parent involvement, they need to work to get our trust back. There is no trust. We need transparency from them as related to going back into the building, but also as to all the decisions being made and where all this money is going. And for learning, those that need the most need to get the most. So we need to start with our diverse learners and our ELL students and all of the students, the houseless students that CPS has just lost. We know that some schools diligently went to each of those homes and connected with those families, but that was school by school. And so CPS is just saying, well, the only way we can fix that is if we get kids back in the building. They don't even have imagination for any other way to connect with those families. And then finally, care. Again, it's a business. It's money. It's four walls. It's not care about the community, the school community, the family community, caring about mental health, caring about the struggling needs, the financial needs, the personal costs for the families, spending $100 on headphones. That is a lot. That's a big expense for some families. So all of these demands are outlined very clearly on Raise Your Hand Illinois' page, and we also sent you the link. But we are not going to stop. These TLC demands can help all students, remote and hybrid, and we're here to talk about it, and we're ready for CPS to do something about it. So thank you, Courtney.
Thank you, Brenna. Now, if there's any questions from media, we can take questions. You can either raise your hand and we'll call on you, or you can post it in the chat. I'm going to open this up then. If anyone, organizers or parents, have something that they feel like they want to offer or want to speak more about.
Yeah, I can speak up because I think this being the first day of K through 5, and even with a good plan, there's going to be challenges, but I think a lot of the things we're seeing that were inadequate with the plan are working out kind of as poorly as expected. What we've seen a lot of is schools that are just severely understaffed. I think that was one of the riskiest propositions with the current plan for hybrid and how to address both in-person and remote learners, and whether that's handling accommodations for teachers or it's people that don't pass the screener. But we're ending up with, paraprofessionals watching diverse learners. Like, there is just a mess of things I'm hearing reported back this morning, or teachers that are remote, and then there is a miscellaneous employee watching the students in the classroom, and then there's also the remote learners. Like, it's a mess, and it was obvious it was going to happen because even admin's been saying it. And, it's tough for admin to speak up because they don't have a lot of the protections teachers have, but even admin's been saying, like, there is not the support from the district to implement this plan. I think that's what it comes down to. Like, the plan's already inadequate, but even what's on there, as much as they like to refer back to it, like, the resources aren't there to implement it. And that's just the fact. And that's where a lot of the trust issues come in, because people know that. They can say they're going to do it, but they know, we know they won't. And we're seeing it firsthand. And it's the thing that's, it's the kids suffer flat out. And we hear about things like learning loss, which is, problematic on its face. But, like, we need to care about the kids, period. Like, we don't need to hold them as what their grade, or we have 3% more failures. Like, who's failing a kid right now?
the district needs to set up and set some standards and be better about this. And I know they've already said they won't back off that, but they really need to. Like, we can't do that to students. They're suffering enough.
Can I add something to what Dave just said? Because I just want to say that, you know, we have to take into accountability that we don't have anybody to hold accountable when they're hiring people at $15 an hour. Like if this was some fast food restaurant or something with no education background to sit and watch our kids. Like if these were factories where our children are going to sit behind a computer, so there is no plan that is working. There is nothing different. There is no socializing in school at the moment. Our children are coming from our tables, our kitchen tables, to their tables with strangers that have no background, that have, you know, in public education, that are getting $15 an hour, underpaid, no benefits. We have to understand the danger, the frustration that this is going to cause on our children and their environment. So I just wanted to say that this is a plan that is not going to work for many. You know, we have no one to hold accountable. This is only going to create hostility between the schools and the parents, the administration, the principal, because those are the faces that we are going to see. Lori Lightfoot is hiding behind City Hall, which, by the way, she has closed down to the public. What kind of hypocrisy? I'll say it again. She's running a city based on lies, hypocrisy, and deceit. She's telling people that city's open. She's opening up restaurants. She's opening up bars, but she's not. She's opening up our school building, but she's not opening up City Hall. She's not allowing people to get close to her, which shows us who matters here in the city of Chicago. I just wanted to add that.
Can I jump on that?
Yeah.
Thank you, Rosemary and David, for mentioning. As you know, there has been extensive investigation to CPS abuse of our kids. There has been many reports where CPS has been hiding these abuse. So now when you bring this, a new set of people here, we already know that CPS has covered up these abuse for a long time. We're going to get back to this again where our kids are going to be abused, hurt, and nobody's there to protect them or watch them. It's unacceptable. Thank you for bringing that out, Rosemary and David.
Okay, I'm going to take this to Anastasia Chapita. As we all know, parents, things come up, so she is here now. She's one of our organizers, and we're going to let her speak about the sick out and her involvement.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. I had a long night because that's what you do as a parent. You take care of your children. I just want to say this fight has been going on for at least for over 70 years that in my family regarding educational rights for children, for parents, for teachers. It's a never-ending story. When it comes down to, as far as us having a sick out today, everyone's wondering, well, what's going on? What's happening? The reason why is because, one, besides being sick and tired, and I'm not going to be sick anymore because not for the mayor or anyone else, but I'm not going to be sick. I am tired, though, but I'm not going to be sick anymore of going through these motions where we just keep talking about it and they're not listening to us. You know, so I have a special needs son. He's autistic. He's 10 years old. And I talked to both of my children, have an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old, and they both say, we don't want to go back, Mommy. And I'm like, why? Because we're at home, we feel safer here. We like being at home. We like you help teaching us. You know, we like even being on the campus with our teachers and our friends. I'm like, really? You know, because people always say, what about the social and emotional things? Well, social and emotional skills come when you interact with another human, another person, not just children, but also, you know, their children are the same age. So they interact with each other when my son allows it, because again, he's autistic, so he prefers to socially distance anyway. So when it comes down to it, our children are not missing social skills. They're not lacking social skills for a year of not having been able to talk to their friends in class, which you're not supposed to do anyway. They get in trouble. My daughter used to get in trouble all the time talking and chatting with her friends. And now when they come back social distancing, they can't talk anyway. They can't even hug each other. So this whole crap about them missing education, they're missing learning. Who are we? We are parents. We're the first teachers. How can you say that? That's an insult. We're the ones who taught them how to walk, how to talk, how to potty train, all these things. Most of us here are not parents that have like 2 and 3 nannies at home, where we don't have to do those things because we're very wealthy. We are ordinary parents that work, make a living, whether it be entrepreneurship or whatever. Some of us are divorced, like myself, which is I'm now a single parent. Some of us are married. It don't matter. It's still work. It's a lot of work to run a household, period. So maybe we're talking to those who are privileged, who don't have to, work, take care of their children. Maybe they don't have to come home and cook. Maybe they don't have to clean up and do laundry and things like that because they have a maid, they have a housekeeper, they have a cook, they have all these different amenities, which is awesome. Okay, but I don't have that, and none of us on here has that type of support system. So the people who are governing, making laws, even the mayor, you're not our voice. Let's make that clear. You are not our voice, honey. Please. As I respect my elders, and I just want to stay in your lane, okay? We have so many other problems here in Chicago that you're trying to be the voice of parents. We just want you to talk to us. Give a damn about us. Give a damn about our children. Because you don't. And don't tell me you do. Because if you did, guess what? You would make sure each and every school had everything they needed. You would make sure before COVID-19 happened that those ventilation systems would have been clean. Our children are going into places that have never been clean. The ventilation systems 20, 30, probably 50 something years old. Never been clean. They're breathing in air from all kind of mold diseases and stuff from like 20, 40 years ago. So you want us to believe that you care now? No, none of these mayors. I don't know. Besides Harold Washington, who unfortunately died early. There's no other mayors, okay, that have cared about Chicago in over 20 years. None. I thought maybe we have a chance to have a new mayor and everything else, things will get better, or we have a new fresh energy. She is just like everyone else. It's all about money. It's all about political gain. And I am tired. Tired of this shit. Tired. You all want us to get our children vaccinated, or you want to get to other people vaccinated. The vaccine has not even been around for years. It takes years and years of testing. Years and years of testing. But that's to each his own. That's everyone else's choice. Okay? I digress a little bit because I have some issues with a lot of things. But I just want to say one more thing before I pass it on to someone else, that we're here because we do have a voice. Parent voices does matter. Our voices matter. If I tell my child she's not going to school like today, she's not. I don't care if it's in person or online or in person, she's not. My son, he doesn't want to anyway. I have to fight with him almost every day, like, come on, please. Come on, let's get online. No, mommy. Every day it's a struggle. A parent, we got about 10 jobs as a parent. Now we got another 20. Add on to it. But no one cares because guess what? They're not in our shoes. They're privileged. But majority of parents are not. Majority of us, 90-some% of us, we're not. We have to still cook, clean, and take care of our families every day. And our support system is not always very strong. Because one, we have families that are elder, like I do. We have families that are sick. We have families that are high risk, especially in my community. I'm in the Bronzeville area. Very high risk community. But you want my children to be okay. We're going to school and things like that. No. And then you put our principals in compromising positions because they got to keep their jobs. But I know I can go on, and there's other people on here that need to speak and say something. So I get fired up, honey. I wore red today because my passion and everything else, and I am fired up. And yes, I'm an angry Black woman with a smile on my face. Because, again, I am tired, CPS. We are tired of being ignored as parents. You're going to learn today. You're going to learn. You're going to learn one day. I'm done for now. Go right ahead, Courtney. Thank you. You can bring someone else on.
Thank you. Thank you, Anastasia. So powerful, as always. And yeah, they're going to learn because we're going to keep coming for it. We're going to keep on coming. We're going to keep on planning actions. Joseph, I wanted to bring you in again. I know you had something else you wanted to say.
Yeah. No, I just want to say this has been an amazing conversation with parents this morning. And glad to have the opportunity to be here with you guys. So I want to add this last piece to it. Yesterday I had a chance to be on a call with Miss Rosie from the 63 boycott. And I tell you, a lot of good knowledge came in on that call. We learned so much. And just to hear some of the roles police played, back then, whereas they weren't even in the schools, but they were outside of the schools to make sure, and going through the communities to make sure children were in the school. Even going back to see what that looks like. Because when I go through Inglewood, sometimes I see children just walking. And it's school time, right? What does it look like for police to enforce that again, instead of just being in the schools with children, kind of agitating situations at times? So I say that, but one piece I really got from that conversation last night was working together. I can't continue to emphasize that. I think Ms. Rosie said that was a big piece for them, is that working together. We support our teachers, we support our children, we support CPS, but what does it really look like when we come together and work together? And there has to be a space there for parents to be there, and that's at the mayor's office level, that's at CPS and CTU, and every piece of it. The only way this will ever work is if we all work together. You can't just keep doing one person or just two people. It'll really never work. You got to bring everybody to the table. And then a few key points I want to point out is that CPS should definitely get rid of standardized testing. That is discriminating against our babies heavy. Our babies can't even get into good schools because of some of this stuff that's happening. The entire system is almost, you say you care about our babies, like Ms. Anastasia said, but it seems like the actions are speaking so differently. No matter how much you say you care, our babies are still set up for not a road of success, So getting rid of standardized testing, I'll say more social workers and less police. All of this money invested into social workers. I talked to a great pastor, Harvey Lee Richardson, and he sat me down and he said, Joe, he said, children are mandated by law to be in CPS school for almost 12 years. And when you look outside your door, you see shooting, violence, and all of this stuff going on. He says they never have a chance to deal with their feelings and their emotions. They never get a chance to talk about what they're going through and have any type of outlet. And it's important that our children have this. It's okay to learn science and math and geometry, but our babies need to learn how to deal with their feelings. And I think CPS has to be more intentional on what a lot of this stuff looks like. And, so more social workers, less police. Something that the Raise Your Hand group, along with other parents, ourselves, and we all sat down and thought about it, was that we need a quality control team. And this quality control team is not just CPS. It's parents, it's community members, it's all stakeholders as part of this as part of this team. We need that. The CPS come up with a team within themselves. Who holds them accountable but them? So we don't know what's going on still. So you have to have a quality control team with everyone that's a part of it, and everyone is stakeholders. And then I also add that we need more Black teachers. When you look at the percent of Black teachers in our communities, it's very low. I believe that only a Black teacher can adapt and relate to Black children. We need more Black teachers, and I think that's something CTU and CPS should work together to push for, along with parents. And then the last one I would just say is that
CPS has to make the doors of CPS more welcoming for parents. It shouldn't just be a drop off and go. Most parents don't even know what a local school council is. They don't even know what a parent advisory council is. We gotta really inform our parents and get them involved. I think that's like the biggest piece is getting folks involved. And the only way you can do that is by not only informing them, but making it welcoming. Let our parents in the buildings to volunteer. Get the help and all the support that we need, And I think the last piece I'll say is that they have to come with more empathy and more heartfelt attentions. You got to be real about it. Everybody getting a check. I say this all the time, and I witness it with my very own eyes. I've witnessed it with nonprofits and many other organizations. It's only so long you will be able to go like this. If you don't do the right thing, it catches up with you. That $300,000 salary that our CEO is getting, the salary our mayor and everybody else is getting, all of this money, everybody getting paid, but ain't nobody putting in the work. And I can only tell you that if you don't put in the work, it's only so long before parents come together in an extreme large amount with other groups, and they push these people out of office. And when they out of office, guess what? Your paycheck is now gone. So I think some people have to look at it at a holistic approach. And some people only see it short term. They just see it for right now, and they think they win it. But if you look at it at the long-term approach, you can keep your job, and everything can continue to go the way it needs to go if you do the right thing by our babies and by our parents. You just have to do the right thing and have us at the table. So with that being said, I just want to thank you guys for opening this conversation up. And it has to stop. We can't keep choosing money over children. We gotta find a different way. So I thank you guys again. I'm gonna go ahead and come on off of here. You guys have a blessed day.
Thank you so much, Joseph.